so. I hope so. If not, ping us in the message or speak up, but I will assume that you can. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I know everyone is super busy. I'm broadcasting live from my 5-year-old daughter's room, as that's where business happens these days. Just excited to have some time with you guys. The intent is to make this quick while we are not having Dave Matthews, Sheryl Crow, or Lionel Richie perform for you. Hopefully this will be entertaining and educational and valuable in a different way. So really quickly, as far as time, wanted to just have our CEO give a quick welcome to you guys. Then we're going to go through some key tips, kind of key plays that we're seeing in the B2B space. Here they are. We'll go through them kind of one by one. Really just, again, the purpose of this is kind of what we're seeing and really wanting to bring that to you. And most importantly, I hope everyone is safe and doing okay. I miss all of you guys. I know many of you, and was looking forward to seeing everyone in Chicago in a few weeks, but we'll get together another time. So with that, I'll just give you some quick intros of who's going to be talking on this call. This is obviously me here, heavily doctored photo of myself, and then the 3 good-looking gentlemen next to me. Chuck Cahoon, who manages our South region, Tony Samuda, who manages our Central region, and Andrew Walker, who is our CEO. And I'm actually going to kick it over to Andrew really quickly to talk to you guys for a minute before we jump into the tips and plays.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brad. And hi, guys and gals, Salesforce team. Thanks for joining our quick and efficient and hyper informative call. I think at the end of this, you're going to feel really good about how we can help you with your business. I want to do 2 things really quickly, sort of set the stage for the sort of situation and how we're viewing things, and then the why for you. Why are you on this call? Why are we wanting to connect with you in a deeper fashion here in this pandemic period? The stage is that we believe at Shift7 that there is disruption happening all the time. And right now, unfortunately, there is a health pandemic, which we all are aware of. And this is the disruption that is forming itself in a way that's going to create a new normal for many businesses. And we at our company, whether you know this about it or not, have been talking about this for a long time. Not so much a health pandemic, but disruption that is happening to force customer experience and digital initiatives to really go faster and to do more of them. It will create a new normal, which we are confident on. And we are seeing it in spades right now with our clients, particularly in the B2B and manufacturing space, that are getting prepared or ramping up in a faster way, the sort of new mindset around a new normal. And so what we want to do is bring it together, and Brad's taken point for this, around why is this important for you. We believe that these organizations have a couple things in place. One, they have compromised sales teams that are literally at home. They cannot get to their vendors, their buyers, their customers in a way that they have been doing for many years and decades. Their trade shows are not happening. Their sales and distribution and marketing ways are completely compromised. These organizations not only were trying to think about how to bring in digital initiatives like e-commerce and digital marketing to touch those end customers better, but now it is forcing them to do it ASAP. And so our belief is not only Salesforce and your commerce platform highly aligned to helping with this, like the time is right now. And so we worked with our team to get this webinar here on the books in very short order. I'm glad that we did it. I'm super appreciative of your participation, but you're going to benefit in a really big way. And we want to work with you to go after these guys, because there's some really ripe opportunities. As we know, other industries are very paralyzed and other, unfortunately, very struggling to survive. This space of B2B and manufacturing is not that. So that's my points. Hopefully they make crystal clear sense. And again, thanks for joining on here. I'll pass it back to Brad, and let's charge through the next pieces.
Perfect. Thank you, Andrew. And so I know many of you, and there are some folks, unfortunately, I have not met yet. I'm looking forward to meeting you all in person. And I think just for some context of how this even came about, you know, as this kind of came down, as I'm sure we all did, just connected with people and reached out. And in a weird way, how we're so disconnected right now, I feel like people are more connected than ever. And as I talked with a number of folks that are on the line who have become very good friends of mine, and I cherish our relationships over the years, just kind of talking about how everything was, kept hearing the same kind of thing over and over. And for those of you that know me, I spent probably close to 10 years of my career selling in side-by-side B2C with all of you. And as things have shifted in your world with you having B2C and B2B Commerce Cloud and other Salesforce clouds in your book, the conversation came to a common place in every version of it, which was B2C, retail, traditional kind of deals. Unfortunately, are stuck. They're you guys are spending a lot of your time, unfortunately, renegotiating contracts and payment terms, and it's not a positive thing, or not an energizing, exciting thing. And as I shared kind of what we're seeing and what Andrew talked about, is B2B is pushing forward, and B2B is more than what we all think. And I can share that personally, just from my education as I joined Shift7 from many years focusing on B2C and retail. There are things that are happening, and wanted to bring this to you all as a way to bring value and ultimately to be able to meet and exceed your sales goals that you've got going on, and share something that I think is pretty unique. So with that, I had to put this in here. I know some of you have seen this. I love this cartoon. Obviously, it's nobody loves what's going on right now, but as we all have done what we've done for as long as we have, digital transformation is something that is so key, and it's not just about platforms. It's fundamentally shifting the way the organization works. So this is accelerating the conversation, and that's never been more present than in B2B, because in many spaces, manufacturing, across all different verticals, CPG, et cetera, since I know you all focus on different areas, this has accelerated things. And just to give you context, you may have all seen stuff like this before, but the piece of the pie in B2B for commerce is more than twice the size. And I think back to examples over the years. I've worked with folks like Kenneth Cole. My team has heard me tell the story a million times, and amazing brand. And we were working with them on the B2C side, and they were struggling to find any amount of budget for anything. And palm to the head kind of moment for me, which is like 99.99% of their business is wholesale. I was barking up the wrong tree to try to win business and try to help them move forward. B2B is really where it's at. And really, again, wanted to bring to you, myself, Chuck, and Tony are going to now walk you through kind of scenarios that we're seeing just as they're unfolding, active opportunities, things that we've won, things that we are actively pitching, some of them with you. We'd like more of them to be pitched with you, as Salesforce is a massive part of our go forward and growth plan here. So I'll do the first one and kick it over, and at the end there'll be time for Q&A. And I'll share a recording of this and the deck, and I'll also share all of our contact info so that you guys can, we'd love to connect with you if we can help on anything moving forward. So first thing is, from a value add perspective, when you look at B2B, whether it's a pure manufacturer that's got distribution networks, or it's some of your retail manufacturers or CPG companies, this concept of launching an FAQ microsite is really key, especially right now. We've all seen it. Every single brand that we've ever bought from sent us an email saying we're here with you, and like that was all they did. Or their site had an email or had a letter from their CEO, and that was step zero from our opinion. An interactive experience from a content perspective, and this is something that can easily be built on your CMS tool or something like Community Cloud, or built into Commerce Cloud, but an interactive experience that goes deeper than just we're here with you. Like, people want fundamental things. Where's my order? How do I pay my invoice? Things that you can streamline for your customers. And I think, honestly, YouTube's doing a great job of it. The way that their kind of help section is very intuitive. It's fix a problem. It lets people get, and this is also important because it allows your clients and prospects, teams, customer service teams, sales reps, whatever it may be, to focus on trying to move forward rather than being bogged down with customer service tools. And I promise we would have used this example whether it was you all or not, but Salesforce has done a great job communicating with all of the different people, customers, prospects, partners like us, folks internally like yourself, sales reps, employees, etc. It's very, very key. So this is something that is an easy win, an easy value add for you to bring back to your prospects, just to continue moving and continue helping them. So I'll kick it over to Chuck to go through the next one here.
Thanks, Brad. So, when we're talking about what we're dealing with in the current world with everything going digital, virtual selling is certainly obviously in play in the B2C space, but it's also tremendously in play for the B2B world. And some of the key features that our B2B clients are taking advantage of from the B2B commerce platforms are, viewing recent orders, quick reorder capabilities around those, viewing recent invoices, tracking upcoming deliveries, submitting inquiries and service requests. And one of our ingredient manufacturers that we're working with, they're building out a huge B2B portal that they're trying to launch not only in the US, but also in EMEA and APAC. But the thinking there is that all of these feature sets needs to culminate into a larger personalized, customized dashboard that their own teams can leverage to further the digital sales in this current environment. So in terms of what you guys are seeing on screen between the two monitors shaking hands, that's just sort of our montage of, I think we're at a point now where digital sales really need to kick in, even in the B2B space. And many of our B2B clients are starting to take advantage of some of those traditional B2C feature sets and leveraging them for the B2B world. Back over to you, Brad.
Thank you for that. Over to Tony.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for making the time today. I think the one thing that is pretty obvious, and if it hasn't come through now, guys, is the B2B space is really blurring, right? Between B2B and B2C and direct to consumer. The B2B manufacturers right now are trying to create that relationship with their end customers in a better way, understanding how to connect and drive a relationship directly with the end customers. And now is even a more critical time with everything that's going on, right? So within the e-commerce MVP sites, it gives them the opportunity to create a better, more direct relationship with the end customer and drive engagement and revenue through some simple commerce sites, if you will. So one of the good examples is sample ordering. A lot of our manufacturers have a need for their end customers to kind of test and feel the products, right? So spinning up a direct to consumer or a B2C site that allows sample ordering is one. Another good example, and you'll see some of the visuals here in a minute, is parts and accessories. So everything that goes around the parts and accessories, or the consumables, if you will, of our clients. In the particular example you'll see here in a second is Lincoln Electric, and maybe Brad, you can move on to some of the examples, but this really allows Lincoln Electric to create a direct relationship with their customers, their end customers, and allow them to get some critical items and a path to drive revenue that is not really viewed by the retailers or the distributors as a conflict right now, especially in these times, right? It creates a direct-to-consumer that allows the manufacturer to create that direct relationship with the end customers, as noted, right? It provides the ability to buy from the manufacturers, basically allowing the end customer to buy where they want to buy, right? So if it's from a distributor, they'll buy from the distributor. If it's from the manufacturer direct, it allows them that channel, right? And it really allows in this particular case, Lincoln Electric, some additional brand and product recognition, pushing their brand more seamlessly out there. That also is a benefit to the distributors. So that's another reason the distributors are not, it doesn't directly conflict with what the distributors are trying to do. And it also begins, frankly, guys, a lot of our manufacturers right now are thinking how they can future-proof themselves against threats from the distributors and the retailers. I mean, if you think about it, Lincoln Electric's products are also sold on Amazon. But who's to say down the road that Amazon doesn't, promote other conflicting competitors against Lincoln Electric. So what Lincoln is doing, and a lot of our manufacturers are doing, is future-proofing themselves against those threats down the road and creating that direct relationship. So as you can see, these are examples of how we quickly and utilized a B2B platform in a B2C way, right? This is basically, Salesforce B2B commerce platform that was tailored to a B2C instance. So one of the highlights of this is it actually was a redesign of what Lincoln Electric had already done in the B2C space. And we did it in such a way that it has increased the revenue over 200% month over month, year over year, right now, from what it's driving on the new platform. So I think this is a really easy way for you guys as Salesforce executives to go out there and position a quick B2C site in many ways that we can help you spin up in a very fast manner. So any questions? I'll pause there for a second and see if there's anything I can do to answer any questions. All right, Brad, back to you.
Thank you, and we can open it up since the only folks that are on here are you're all colleagues and we're partners of yours, so we can open it up for Q&A at the end. But thank you for that, Tony. I'm gonna move back to one more example from Chuck, and then I will wrap this up.
Thanks, Brad. Yeah, so there's another piece that's important from the B2B customer servicing perspective, which is obviously the service cloud element of this. And we have been talking to quite a few of our B2B clients around Service Cloud and what value that can add in these times as well. Some of the traditional items that they're interested in, as you can imagine, around case management and omni-channel routing, but they're also looking at some sort of new threads in there, like service process automation. What are the analytics around their service requests? And finally, one of the other clients we're working with is currently asking for us to look at some amount of agent workspaces that will enable their customer service representatives that are now all working remotely to have a similar dashboard and enable the same level of customer service to all of their clients. So I think there's a real opportunity leveraging some of the commerce B2B platform to not only do that front end commerce stuff, but also do the Service Cloud piece, giving our B2B clients a holistic solution in the Salesforce platform. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share about these two topics. Back over to you, Brad.
Cool, thank you. And obviously, this last one is near and dear to all of us, as we are all B2B sales reps. But what I think is very interesting, and maybe it's just something I don't think about often, is we're all used to this. We're all used to being virtual. We're all used to, many of us work remote, being on the road. So we all transitioned. I laughed at the beginning as we had a few clients ask us for our transition plan for the pandemic and how long it's sustainable, and my answer was forever. But with that, many of the companies that we work with, particularly on the B2B side, and many of the folks that you're going after, they're not set up that way. A very good friend of mine is a CTO of a company in the health and wellness space, and he had to provision 1,300 laptops because simple things like that these folks don't have. So when you talk about B2B sales reps, what we talked about, when you talk about virtual customer service and making that into a concierge experience, when you talk about all these things that we showcase, another big area that's coming up, and I've had multiple, I'm actually at least 2 or 3 conversations with folks on this phone about this last topic around challenges that companies are having. They do orders, they take and book orders of significant revenue value at trade shows, and right now they cannot do that. So fortunately, some of the companies are trying to figure out ways to claw back revenue. Others are doing well, but their B2B sales reps are kind of sitting on the bench twiddling their thumbs. How do you find ways to replace this revenue? I think we're all trying to figure it out, right? As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm sure there's something coming up. There's probably going to be a virtual connections or whatever it may be. But the idea of working with many of the tools that you all offer to, whether it's Community Cloud, whether it's CMS, obviously Commerce Cloud, a way for these trade show and B2B reps to mimic what it would be like to be at a trade show. Some sort of interaction, Service Cloud absolutely plays into there, but being able to actually book those orders. And as I said, you know, I have 2 or 3 of those conversations going on with folks on this phone. I can almost guarantee you this one, the enabling sales reps ones, and they're all incredibly important, but this is something that will definitely be coming up with your clients. And I think this is a great topic for you to bring value to your customers, to talk to them about, to shake the trees on it, because I mean, it's a great way for them to help. It's also great value to you because the end result is them having to roll out some sort of technology solution, and you have the perfect fit for that. So again, the point here was really to keep this quick and short. As Andrew likes to say, we like to say, let's go. Let's push forward. We are a high energy group. We're always trying to innovate. We're always trying to push. We're coming at this from a strategic perspective. So I really hope this was helpful. I'd love to open it up for questions. If anyone would like to ask anything. If not, you can put it in the chat and I can see it and answer it anonymously. Or as I said, in a minute, I'm going to flash our cell phones, our emails, etc. So I'll put it to you all. Do you have any questions that we can answer for you?
Yeah, I've got a quick question for you. This is Trad. I'm newer on the team. Haven't actually like worked a full B2B cycle yet, but you know, I've had some conversations started, and it seems like a common theme with some of these, especially manufacturers and consumer goods companies, is that they've got kind of old school sales reps that may be hesitant for new ways. I think they kind of feel like, you know, in all reality, a B2B portal is potentially replacing what they do. So I'm just curious if you guys have come across any friction like that with some of these manufacturers and consumer goods companies, with having to kind of get some pushback from the sales leaders, and how you know.
Yeah, that is a great question. I can respond to that, and then obviously Chuck, Tony, and Andrew, if you'd like to chime in. I think one thing that just for me personally, again, having worked on both sides of the world, that was just a really important point to remember, is that when we talk about B2C or even a self-service B2B e-commerce portal, that's talking about, in the B2B world, that's talking about one customer segment. On the B2C side, any customer, whether you buy $50 or $50,000 from Ralph Lauren, you go through the same exact experience. On the B2B side, just like you all, right? People can you know, sign up for small companies can sign up for Salesforce, but they probably don't have a whole dedicated team of reps like your largest clients would. It's exactly the same with these folks that you're talking to. So the what I'm getting at is a B2B commerce portal typically is targeted at a certain customer segment, and it's obviously going to be different for everyone. But the angle that you'd want to take there is really that these systems are there to help accelerate, not to take away, because for the most part, it depends, you know, things change, but in most organizations, the largest accounts or even the mid-size accounts and upper tier accounts are going to have a rep there. And it's very important also to get them bought in early in the buying cycle. Like the examples that I'm working on or that we're working on right now, oftentimes the head of B2B sales is the one actually that we're selling to. And we're you know, helping to educate him on how this is going to accelerate what he's trying to do, not step on the toes, but it is a valid concern that we definitely see. Andrew, Chuck, or Tony, do you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I was going to add, I think I was with Trad. So thanks, Trad, for that question. So you're spot on. And the difference between 3 months ago and today is that there are presidents of sales, head of sales and distributions, the sales leader who runs North America, whatever is that top person who runs sales, was contemplating it 3 months ago when revenue was good, and now today revenue is dropping. So you connect with him or her, and what we're doing is connect with him or her and saying, listen, we know revenue is likely dropping. Unless they're in PPE or medical supply manufacturing, most of them revenue is dropping, and it's because of the sales team members they have are compromised, or because where they're selling through, the Grangers, the HD Supplies, the Home Depots, the Lowe's, their only store that's open is their .com. So what are you as the head of sales doing to make up for that revenue drop that you have right now? And lighting up e-commerce channels through Salesforce is the starting point. And that is the prescriptive advice from me to you on how to leave this call and go from there. Does that make sense, Trad?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. I've got one more question as well. Obviously, you guys are kind of on the front lines with us right now, and I've been asking everyone this question, but what are some industries or even like subcategories that you guys are seeing that maybe are entertaining these conversations more so than others right now? I think like all of us can probably attest to this. The retail industry as a whole is just, it's tough right now, but we are finding certain specific industries that maybe seem to, either be experiencing an increase in volume right now, or are just really, they're really strategically thinking about how they can get through this instead of others that are just trying to keep their head above water.
So this is Tony. I can chime in, and then the rest of you guys can jump in also. So think about the way that we're attacking this is looking at industries that are essential right from the start, but also, and those could be like Lincoln Electric, right? It's essential to the whole supply chain as far as their products go, and what they're doing from being critical to the supply chain of getting everything to the consumer or to the, us as residents within our homes or our day-to-day lives in the current aspects, right? So some of that also is packaging. Some of that is also is medical supplies, pharmaceuticals, or manufacturers in those space. But I think that the thing that not to take short sight of is there's going to be a big boom at this, right? When everybody comes out of this, the people need to look at this from a manufacturer's perspective, that they need to come out of this and rethink how they're doing life or how they're doing business. This is not going to change, right? This is not going back to normal. Normal now is they need to put all these digital initiatives in place to basically sell in a different environment and in a different way. So in my aspect, there's going to be my prescription is there's going to be a kind of a big boom once we get through this, that people are going to start to recognize that shit, I have to get my act together from a digital perspective and handle the way we're going to market better. So Andrew or Brad or Chuck, you guys want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just chime in real quick. I completely agree with that. We have been basically prescribing to all of our manufacturers, and it's resonating really well in terms of, like, you guys need to get ready for what's coming. And if you thought you were behind on your digital initiatives, this is the time for you to really get ahead and really tighten up everything. So because once this boom, like Tony's mentioning, happens, you need to be ready to go, because digital, it's gonna flip now completely. And I think in listening to what you were sharing about retail, I was reading just last night about all the impacts to retail. And I am certain that they're going to be a little bit more shy, but they will also likely need to come around to the same way of thinking, right? Which is that digital is going to become the primary channel. So how are you going to leverage that to market and grow your personal share of the pie?
Yeah, the last piece to add to that too is if you look back, the first thing that Andrew said when he was welcoming, the two main reasons why we're here are distribution channels are closed and sales reps are working remotely. If you can use that as a lens to look at, because there may be other things that we didn't even mention here that you're going to see in your particular, because I know everyone focuses on different verticals, but if you can apply that lens and that's a hurdle for them, then you should be talking to them and they should be talking to you.
Yeah, well said.
Thanks for those questions, by the way. Those are good. And again, happy to follow up if you've got any more. But anyone else?
I'll ask one more. Sorry. So when working with some of these companies that maybe have more complex product catalogs and different sorts of like product bundles and things like that, do you see a need to tie CPQ in with a B2B commerce evaluation, or does B2B commerce have the functionality to be able to accommodate some of these complex product catalogs?
Oh, that's a good one. Let me jump in real quick. So CPQ, yes. However, there's a foundational layer in here, which is PIM. And you know, Salesforce is partnered with a company by the name of InRiver, which is one of your primary go-to partners from a PIM perspective. PIM is a foundational layer into getting all the product information into a consolidated place for the marketers to enrich, and ultimately then syndicating out to the various channels, including commerce and CMS sites and everywhere else. CPQ is a fast follow-on to that, though, in order to handle some of the complexities that follow from that.
Yeah, and that's a great question too, because you'll see, particularly on the B2B side, many cases they're not you know, ready to go products. They're, you know, they need to be custom configured. And, you know, we have a scenario we're working on right now where this product traditionally takes 4 weeks to get a quote on. That obviously doesn't work in this day and age with, you know, decisions being made by the second. So CPQ is an incredibly powerful tool to layer on. But I think to Tony's point, absolutely. But it also depends. You know, it depends on the product that. Cool. Anyone else? All right. Well, I was gonna sing Dave Matthews' song to you guys, but you already heard him sing last week, so I'll let you go. At the end of this, I'm just gonna flash our. Remind you again our names. I know you guys aren't all broken down regionally, but I'll send this across to you. If you've got any questions, reach out to any and all of us. We'd love to talk. Anything we can do to help, you know, put something positive back in your day and help you guys in your pursuits. We would love to work with you on any and all things. So thank you guys again for your time. I know everyone's busy. Please stay safe, and I hope to raise a tall glass of whiskey with many of you in person at some point soon.
Thanks, guys.